out tonight as Snider takes the trip up to Kennedale to battle East Noble. The Knights looking to stay hot, and the Panthers hunting for win number 1 in our signature matchup. East Noble fired up and ready to go for its 2025 home opener. No score in the first as Riley Biddle gives to Ian Ramey, who makes some moves and finds an open runway right to the end zone to put the Knights on the board first. East Noble back to it as Biddle airs it out here to Alexander Scott. And Scott shakes his defender, keeps moving, and dives to the pylon. A tough play for Scott that ends in another Knights touchdown. Snider trying to make something happen now as Jaywin Harris finds Kaysen Warfield, and Warfield does the rest. He sprints down the middle, makes the move, and gets to the outside before finally being dragged down. A little later, Panthers still on the move as Harris tosses it up to a wide open Jordan Davis, and he trots into the end zone for the score. But the rest of the game, all East Noble as the Knights win 29-7.
And we turn to another exciting matchup, Huntington North taking on Northrop, and it was the Vikings' James Linker who stole the show tonight. The Bruins and Vikings opened up with a back-and-forth start, each finding the end zone for a quick touchdown. But second quarter, Northrop goes deep with a Hail Mary, but just as Quay Guilford goes up, Huntington's James Linker skies for the interception. He fires up the Vikings, and they lead 13-6. But Linker wasn't done. Lathan James dropped back and launches a strike to Linker, who easily glides into the end zone for his third score of the night. Vikings pull ahead 20-6. Northrop answers, though. Quarterback David Callison runs to find opening, and he fires a perfect deep ball and finds Carson West to strike back. And shortly after, Callison's going to hand it back to Levi Porty, who bursts through the gap and powers through for 6 more. The Bruins kept that momentum going and storming back to take this one 31-23, the final.
And a big-time matchup over at Carroll as the Chargers welcome state powerhouse Center Grove. Tie ball game in the second quarter as Oscar Sloan launches deep down the field to Drake McClurg, and McClurg makes a huge grab for the Trojans. That sets up this handoff right to McClurg, and he'll follow his blockers across the goal line for 6 as Center Grove recaptures the lead. Carroll trying to get something going now as Gabe Frissinger barely avoids the rush, rolls out, and gets it downfield to Mason Bauman for the first down. Chargers stopped there, though, and elect to go for the field goal as Corbin Dempsey puts it up and through the uprights to make it a 4-point game, but the Trojans take over in the second half to win it 35-24.
And Bishop Dwenger squared off with St. Francis in front of a packed crowd. And at the second, KJ Collins Walker sets his feet and fires to Jaden Houston, who goes up and strongs and drags his toe into the end zone for 6. Knights knock out front now. And ensuing the kick, Christian Leesburg gets a hand on it and deflects the ball. The Dwenger sideline erupts, still fighting back. Third quarter now, a scramble for a loose ball. Casey Piper comes up with it, and just a few plays later, the Knights punch in another touchdown to tie the game 9-9. St. Francis trying to find a spark as Kayshawn Richardson spins out of trouble and picks up some yards, but in the end, it wouldn't be enough as Dwenger rolls to Week 2 win over St. Francis. Final score on the board ended up being 31-15.
And Northside hitting the turf at Chambers Field as the Legends welcome New Haven. The Bulldogs punting it away early as this bounces over Sebastian Moore. Moore tries to backtrack and can't scoop it up. The ball keeps rolling and fumbling until New Haven hops on it and recovers. That leads to this handoff to DJ Simpson as he bulldozes his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Northside looking to respond on 4th and long now as Jamarcus Martin gets it out to Jarmeek Harrison. And Harrison makes a move, turns on the Jets, and he'll take this one all the way to the house for the Legends. But a missed PAT still keeps the Bulldogs ahead. North back to it as Martin finds Harrison again. He stiff arms the defender here, races across the field, finds the lane, and he blazes down the sideline. No one will catch him as Harrison scores another big-time touchdown, and the Legends get the win 39-23.
Taking things over to the Angola-Leo game now as the student section is fired up. Leo's QB shaking things up. Titus Stroller steps back and launches the pass, and it lands right in the hands of Kellen Huber, and he sprints his way for another Leo touchdown. They're up 20-6. Hornets looking for an answer as QB Brady Ravis throws one to Tyler Ruppel for not enough to be a touchdown, but still a great pass. Angola's Ravis looks for down the field for Hawk Hasselman. He just tips the ball, but Stroller is back again. He scoops the ball just outside of the end zone. He dives, and it's good. Leo holds the lead the rest of the way, dominating on both sides of the ball, and in the final seconds, they take the kneel to seal it. The Lions walk up with a 31-16 victory, making a statement in Week 2.
And finally, over at Zollner Stadium, the student section fired up as Concordia hosts Eastbrook. Panthers with the lead in the second quarter as Bodie Howell calls his own number, finds a lane, and he's rocked right before the goal line by the Cadets. Few plays later, though, Eastbrook looking to score as Miles Brown gets the rock, cuts inside, and he'll take it into the end zone for the Panther touchdown. Eastbrook back on the attack as Luke Hayworth sniffs out the fake and takes Howell to the turf. A big play for Concordia. But the Panthers ready to score again here as Howell goes for another keeper, cuts it back inside, and he'll race his way to pay dirt for Eastbrook as the Cadets fall at home in a 41-14 final.